Krystal, what are you taking a look at?
In 2022, Americans were the most scammed people in the entire world, and the amount of losses to scammers skyrocketed to all-time highs. Those are some of the takeaways from a report on the state of scamming by Social Catfish, which compiled in-depth statistics on who was getting scammed, how they were getting scammed, and how much these victims lost. Few of the takeaways here. Teens and seniors are particularly vulnerable. Most victims will never recover their money. And with AI development, the problem is only getting worse. First, let's just take a look at some of the top line figures here, because in some ways, this is the most disturbing part. In just 5 years' time, the amount of US scam losses tracked by the FBI and FTC has nearly quadrupled, rising to a record-breaking $10.3 billion. Just look at how the amount of losses, that's the dark purple bar, look at how those losses have grown, skyrocketing in just the past couple of years. But even these numbers wildly underestimate the amount of harm and loss in a given year, because the overwhelming majority of scam victims, they never report out of shame and justified expectation they're not going to recoup their losses anyway. In fact, Social Catfish estimates that the total amount of losses was more like 200 million in 2022 alone. Now, you might be a little surprised about who was most taken in by these scams. Although boomers lose the most money to scammers, after all, they have the most money to lose, teens are actually falling prey to scammers at the fastest rates. Teen losses to scammers have grown 2,500% over the past 5 years. Judging by the number of highly suspect TikToks that my 15-year-old credulously sends me or presents as rock-solid facts, I guess I shouldn't be all that surprised. After all, this is a generation that lives out so much of their real life in the online world. Their friendships, romances, leisure activities all seamlessly move back and forth between the real world and the digital one. So just from sheer time spent online, there are more opportunities for scammers to take advantage of. Couple that with a teenage naivete about the world, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Now, the most common scams targeting teenagers specifically take advantage of their desires for connection or for clout. Scammers might pose as a young, attractive person, luring the teenager in before asking for money, or asking for nudes that they then use for extortion. They may pose as a social media influencer, promising some sort of prize if the teen just pays a fee or sends bank account info. They might advertise a too-good-to-be-true discount on some product and make off with the cash or bank account info when it's sent in. Or scam young gamers with a promise of some in-app purchase for rewards that do not actually exist. But make no mistake, whatever age you are or interest you have, there is a scam tailor-made to target you. They prey on all of our nation's failures and all of our vulnerabilities. In an era when housing is wildly unaffordable, wages are stagnant, debt is sky high, get-rich-quick crypto schemes have become the most financially devastating scam in the whole nation, jumping ahead of business email compromise schemes as the most costly. In 2022, more than ever before, young men in particular were lured in with fake initial coin offerings, fake exchanges and wallets, and pump-and-dump schemes. But financial insecurity was the bedrock of a whole host of successful scams. Lonely boomers were preyed on by scammers posing as wealthy businessmen looking for love, luring the victim in with promises of wealth and business opportunities, convincing them to send money for investment schemes that do not exist. Others fell for lottery scams, where they're told they'll win a big prize if they just pay a fee or send in private identity information. Black Americans facing massive wage and wealth disparities, they were lured in with fake work-from-home job opportunities that might help a single mom make ends meet and still have time with their kids, but really are just a trick to steal their identity or some upfront payments. And they were tricked with fake apartment scams by fraudsters to exploit the desperation caused by high rents and housing discrimination to steal deposits and application fees for non-existent rentals. The highly charged emotional political climate has also become a ripe landscape for scammers. We've documented some of this on this show. From the We Build the Wall scheme that Steve Bannon was indicted over to the fake Trump bucks, which were sold as legal tender, former President Trump's devoted followers have been robbed by scammers who exploit their sincere devotion to their political hero. But it is not only MAGA that is being robbed. The George Floyd social justice movement gave rise to fake GoFundMes, fraudulent charities claiming to fight for progressive causes, but really just stealing people's money. The unfortunate reality is this is just the beginning. With financial precarity rising, loneliness festering, paths to personal empowerment closing, our nation is only becoming more vulnerable. And with the widespread adoption of AI, creating a new landscape of voice impersonation, face swapping, and deepfake videos, the tools to trick people are only becoming more sophisticated. Our nation's status as both wealthy and wildly unequal with a threadbare social safety net has made us the #1 target of scammers from all around the world. No other country even comes close in terms of online scam victims in 2022. When it comes to falling for scams, apparently we are #1. And Saagar, what was wild to me in this report was they go through a bunch of different.
Hey guys, if you want to see what I had to say to Krystal's monologue, not just this one, all of them, going back to the very beginning, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com.